Nice to see you. I know no one's here yet, and it's possible no one will come because I didn't promote this. It's not. I don't have much to say. I just wanted to have a little catch up with you guys. I felt a live was overdue, and then I will maybe clip it and turn it into a video afterwards. But yeah, this is just going to be me chatting for 20 minutes. I'm gonna wait a few seconds. I hope that's okay. Let's just see if anyone arrives and then I'll get started. Hey guys, maybe if you're in, just drop a message in the chat so that I can see that you're here and then I'll get started. Okay. Hi, it's lovely to have you here. It's Saturday night here in Hong Kong. It's 10 p.m. Oh my god, I have no idea what I'm doing. Okay, I didn't mind you seeing my phone, but here we are. So right now it's 10 p.m. in the UK. Oh, thank you so much for the comment. Hello to you too, Money Ballin. I hope you are ballin'. I work on a Saturday, but I only work a 9 to 5 on Saturday, which is brilliant. It means that, it's actually a normal working day as opposed to, hello Vasu, so nice to see you. Welcome to the chat. Please ask me anything, Vasu. Moneyballin, you as well. I've actually had a normal working day as opposed to the crazy hours you usually work in Hong Kong. So I'm feeling I felt like a good day to do it live. I thought I'd just chat a little bit to you guys about Hong Kong because my time here is almost over. I've been here for 8 months and I've got 4 to go. I mean, I understand that doesn't sound like it's almost over, but I work at a learning centre. And basically learning centres, they get crazy busy over summer because the kids are out of school and Asian parents never want their kids to be out of school. So immediately, I have no idea why my green screen. I don't want a green screen. Immediately, we're back to your voice is too low, hard to understand. I can talk louder. You want me to also speak in a higher pitch voice? So basically, summertime, if you work at a learning centre, is absolutely mental because everyone is putting their kids into extra school whilst they're on their school holidays. So if you're a regular teacher, I guess you could say a proper teacher, you love the summer holidays because you're off. But for myself, it's quite the opposite. So I've got 2 months of working in a learning centre over summer, and then I have another 2 months of my regular back to my regular schedule. How many hours are you teaching this month? I work 50 hours a week, but you don't teach for all of those. I think I can only teach 28 hours a week, and after that you have to be paid overtime. But trust me, there's so much prep to do, guys, when you're teaching. Anyway, so yeah, I've only got 4 months left, but I feel that in a way I've got 2 months left because the next 2 months are going to be a bit of a write-off. Guys, do you want to see my view? Do you want to see my view? Just let it focus for a bit. My front camera isn't brilliant, but don't I have the best view in Hong Kong? So, anyway, what was I saying? Yeah, I've got 2 months where it's just a write-off. I'm going to be working so hard. And then after that, I've only got another 2 months. So, first of all, I'd love some suggestions of what you absolutely have to do in Hong Kong before I leave. But second of all, life's about to change for me quite a bit. And I still don't know how. I've got a lot to figure out because yeah, I don't feel ready to go home. I also don't want to. Hi, Carmen. It's so lovely for you to join. Thank you. I miss this video quality, as in it used to be a bit worse, and you miss that. um, yeah, I'm having a bit of an existential crisis. I really don't know what's next for me in life. Um, I know that long term I want to be a teacher in Scotland. I want to train to be a primary school teacher and be a teacher in Scotland, but I'm not in a position financially to afford a postgrad yet, and I don't feel I've quite got the adventure out of my system to go and settle back in Scotland yet. I don't. When I say I don't have much to go back to, I don't mean that in like the super depressing way. I have lovely friends, I have lovely family, but I wouldn't be going back to a graduate job. I'd probably just be working as a waitress for a year to sort things out. I'm just not ready to go back to that just yet. So I have 4 months to figure out a plan, essentially. And that's very nerve-wracking because I'm someone who likes to know what's going on, but there's always so many opportunities in uncertainty as well. So I think it's best to just focus on that. I hope you guys agree. But here are my options. I could stay in Hong Kong. I really like Hong Kong. The people are lovely. It's so beautiful. In such a small, concentrated space, there's so much to do. You know, I like teaching, so I could continue to teach. However, I feel that if I'm going to stay away from Scotland for longer, that should be with a real purpose. And so I think I would rather go somewhere else first before returning to Scotland for the sake of feeling that, for the sake of feeling a sense of progression. That, you know, the reason I'm not going home yet is because I'm learning about a new place, because I'm still continuing to push myself, those kind of things. Yeah. So I could apply for a teaching job in either Vietnam or mainland China, which would be pretty cool, I think. Or I could get my shit together and find a way to make money through content creation. That's always plan A, but I mean, obviously it's a bit of a pipe dream, right? So yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I think you can sense I'm a little bit nervous about it. Trying my best not to be, but what can you do? Yeah, it took me 4 months to really enjoy Hong Kong. I spent the first 4 months feeling very anxious when I was here. It was a new environment. I'd signed up to be a teacher with a lot of expectation that I would love it, and the truth was I was a little bit overwhelmed, a little bit stressed. There's cultural differences here that affects your teaching. You know, the way that they perceive disability, how hard they want to work students, expectations of you as a teacher. It took a little bit of a learning curve to decide how I felt about that. You know, there's definitely ways that the British system's better. I think that's fair to say. There's also ways that the Hong Kong system's better. A way the Hong Kong system's better is that, you know, okay, kids are very pushed, but something that has blown me away is the potential of a tiny child. You know, when I teach 2-year-olds that are fluent in English, when they never speak that at home, it is pretty crazy. And kids in Britain aren't generally pushed like that, you know. And 5-year-olds that can read fluently in their second language, and there's not many 5-year-olds in Britain that can read fluently in their native language. So that's very cool. But there's definitely negatives. You know, you see kids under a lot of pressure, too much pressure. You don't associate anxiety with small kids, and yet sometimes you see it, how anxious they are about performing in tests. You also see that, okay, this kid clearly has something undiagnosed that in Britain would be, you know, sorted out pretty pronto. They don't have that attitude over here, or at least it's not what I've seen. I've heard that British students are very unruly, and it is expected that teachers will yell and scream to keep them under control. I've talked to quite a few immigrants in the UK, as in, you know, kids that moved whilst they were teenagers, and all of them discuss the shock they had at the way, you know, the culture where kids would talk back to to the teachers, etc. I do believe that Britain is struggling with that a little bit. I actually think a lot of it's going to sort itself out. I think that Britain is realising we've maybe gone a bit too soft and is going back a little bit. So I do predict that by the time I'm a teacher, there'll be a happy medium where there isn't an expectation that the teacher can do whatever they want, but that a teacher can make quite clear rules, quite clear boundaries, and those will be respected. So I'm not too worried about that personally. I think I can handle it. But I do have to say, there's very little behavioural issues when you teach in Hong Kong. Kids are really cool. They're well behaved. They know that their parents are paying for them to be there, so I think they know that they have to behave. Did teaching change your understanding of kids? Majorly. So I'm sure you know, my friend taught English in Thailand last year. He said it was fun. It's chaotic for sure. So let me just answer your question first, Moneyball. And so, as I'm sure you know, I don't have kids, and also I've not really had that much experience around kids. You know, like I did. My sisters are younger than me, but I didn't raise them. We all grew up together. It's so lovely to see you too, Paul. Thank you so much. I never had a job that was centred around children. I just had a hunch. I like teaching. And it's partly not even to do with teaching itself, it's just the general idea of I want a job that's working with a community, that's contributing to a community. I do feel like I had like certain skills that would make me a good teacher. So on a hunch, I applied for the job and hoped for the best. But it was really my first exposure to kids. So let me talk about that for a bit. First of all, kids are a lot nicer than I think they're painted as. I think, a lot of people just really, their only experience of a child is seeing one screaming in a supermarket, or seeing, a sarcastic, horrible kid on TV, or hearing about how spoiled kids are nowadays. When you actually are just in a classroom of 5-year-olds, they're giggly, they're listening to you, they're engaging with you, they're being kind to each other, you see, oh my goodness, what lovely little people. And of course, there are difficult children, but you do see in most cases with those difficult kids, okay, you're figuring stuff out, like, as you're meant to as a child. So like you're being a bit bitchy there, and then you're kind of assessing to see if it's how you want to be. You don't come across that many like horrible kids. I've now been a teacher for 8 months. I really haven't had that feeling almost ever. And when kids are difficult to manage, in most cases, it's not really the kid, it's the fact you can see quite clearly this is a child in the wrong environment. And, if you had more power as a teacher, then you would do something about that. But, you can't really in a learning centre. Parents pay for the course they pay for, etc. So yeah, that's one way that my perception of kids have changed. The average child is much nicer than we give them credit for, and I think it's a bit of a disservice actually, because there's such a toxic narrative that kids, they drain your life away, they're so spoiled, what are the advantages to having kids? Most kids are pretty wonderful. The second thing is, I always thought before I worked at the job I did, that I think the aging population is, yeah, me too, dude. I totally agree. I think who knows what's safe, because our economy changes so fast and technology develops so fast, but I think teaching will be safe for a while. Not that I don't think there's so many supplementary tools available to kids, and a lot of them are really good, but I do believe that for a long time at least, parents, at least with younger kids, are going to want their younger kid with an adult, a real life adult. So I think my job's safe for a while, but also, whatever industry you're in, you need to be aware that you're going to have to evolve with technology, and the teaching industry is the same. Have you heard of Small Brained American on YouTube? No, but I'll look him up. I do love travel vloggers. Yeah, the second thing is, I'm not a particularly feminine individual, as I'm sure you know. I'm not. I'm quite adventurous, outdoorsy, etc. I always thought I really hope I'm a mum to a boy. Nothing against girls. I just always in my mind, I will be a good boy mum. Then I became a teacher, and I do have to say, girls are easier. um, I can't comment on teenagers because I don't teach teenagers. I teach 2-year-olds to 12-year-olds. But the little girls, they do actually sit. They do actually do as they're told. They do always try their best. And yeah, that just can't be guaranteed with the boys. So that's a really nice thing to learn, actually, because as a hopefully a mum in the future, if I find out I'm pregnant with a boy, it's like, well, I always had a hunch I would like a boy, but now if I find out I'm pregnant with a girl, I won't have that, oh, well, I like the company of little girls, I don't think that's for me. I now know, no, little girls are quite delightful. So that's been a really nice positive. I think the other thing is, I've learned, just to wrap that up, the thing I've learned about kids is that they're far more developed than we give them credit for. You can tease them, you can make jokes, at their expense. Obviously, you can't go too far. You can be sarcastic. You can ask critical questions that require critical thinking of quite a young child, and they almost always rise to the challenge. I do think obviously there's a nice thing about treating a kid like a kid, because they're only kids once. But we do underestimate their intelligence, and we do underestimate, I think, what they want from us sometimes. I think we always have the idea of they want us to baby them, they want to be looked after. Some kids, you can see, respond so positively to being treated as a bit of a peer, because they don't get it that often. And I think they really like that, and I've definitely learned that going forward, that it's quite important for their social development that you talk to them properly, not always in baby talk, etc. But I've also learned that it's nice for you as well, because kids are natural conversationalists, actually, when you give them half the chance. Let me see what Tom's saying. Hi Tom, I'm in the UK, and if I was to apply for a teaching job in Hong Kong, 1, how much do you think people need in savings before moving? So originally I applied during COVID, and I just had to scrap it. I just had to let that dream go, because during COVID you had to pay like £3,000, like something obscene, so that you could quarantine when you were here. Obviously now that's gone, and so I then applied again after COVID to the same job, and when I arrived in Hong Kong, so obviously that's excluding a plane ticket, I had about £500 in my account to last me the first month. And the reason I could do it so cheaply is because my company provides accommodation. So it's not, I don't have free accommodation, but it comes out of my salary. And Tom, I'm happy to tell you the name of that company privately if you are genuinely really interested. There are some places, for example, I think most of Southeast Asia, where it's really easy to just sort out your own accommodation. So for example, if you get a job in Hanoi, you can probably on Airbnb get like a pretty decent apartment for £400, and you just book that for a month. You work your first month while living in that Airbnb, and in that time you sort out a place to live. But Hong Kong, it's like how crazy is this? It would be like trying to move to New York and do that. Well, can you just rent an Airbnb in New York for £400? No, it would be like £2,000. Hong Kong's the same, the prices are obscene. So my rent is £650 a month, but it just comes off my monthly salary, and I didn't have to pay any advance. And that was one of the major reasons why I chose the company I work for, because gosh, what a hassle it would be to find accommodation in Hong Kong otherwise. So your flight is going to cost you £500 one way once you've added luggage from London or Edinburgh, and you're going to need, obviously this doesn't include having a lot of fun, but to live you're going to need £500 for the first month, plus whatever you want for your living situation. So like I say, I cut that out by having it with my employer. but you would need to factor in if that's what you want, and if not, how are you going to figure that out yourself? So basically, without considering accommodation, 500 for your flight, 500 for your first month before your first salary. And second, you're saying, is the pay enough to teach for a year and build up some savings? So I get paid £2,300 a month, and as I've told you, 650 quid comes off immediately because that's my rent. So I'm left in my account, that's just my salary that's just come. I had £1,600. You have to save 8% for tax, so clearly that's better than the UK, right? 8%, and not guaranteed that you have to pay it, but not guaranteed. A lot of people in their first year don't end up being asked for it, but you want to have it saved because they're entitled to ask for it, right? So you have to take off 8%. Basically, you can, yeah. You won't save a lot, but if I wasn't a content creator, then instead of investing money into content creating each month, I invested it into a savings account. I could save 400 quid and still live a better life than I did as a waitress in the UK. Yeah, so I don't know what kind of money you're wanting to save, but if it's about 400 quid a month, you can do that very comfy. If it's a lot more, then you're probably want to get a promotion pretty quick, or tutoring in Hong Kong, doing that as extra on top of your regular hours. That pays serious money, dude. Okay, Floris. Hi, Floris. Cool name. Since the Asperger Girl YouTube channel went inactive, I don't know who that is, and I guess I won't now because she's inactive. Yours is my favourite female autism-related channel. Okay, cool, thank you. Yeah, autism is a very small part of my channel, mainly because I just don't feel I talk on behalf of anyone. Sometimes I don't even feel I talk accurately on behalf of myself because I'm not completely confident with precisely where I stand on how to describe my experience, what my experience has been, if it's similar to other people's, etc. But I also don't want to pretend I don't have it, and that's why I sprinkle it in, you know. But yeah, thank you, that's very kind, and I'm sure I'll do a video in the future as I evolve as a person. Yeah, Asperger's really doesn't feel like something that's been affecting me recently. I think I'm very lucky to say that with teaching, I've found a profession I'm suited to, and to be suited for your profession is to be suited for one of life's major elements. So I think it's been so good for the internal stress within, even though I'm stressed about other things, obviously, in my future, but I think that's been really nice. And also, you know, my job has proven to me that I have social skills, and it's quite strange to be someone who feels that they have very high functioning social skills, but also be someone who has a disability that is precisely related to poor social skills. So yeah, I don't quite know how to define that aspect of who I am, but what a lovely comment, Florence, thank you. Chris Chong, welcome back. How about your trip? Dude, my trip was sick. So I went to Japan, I only went to Tokyo, and I also went to Mount Fuji. I climbed Mount Fuji. I don't want to flex, but Mount Fuji was really easy. Like really easy. I'm quite a fit person, and if you grow up in rural Scotland, all you do is climb hills. So I probably had an advantage in that sense. I also certainly had an advantage in that the weather was on our side. But it's not that hard. The gradient's not that steep, and it's a very established path that's winding. So, you know, with slow and steady progress, it's not that hard. And obviously you take a break halfway up, you sleep in a shelter overnight so that you're at the top for sunrise. I really found it easy. Well, I found going up, easy's probably to my own horn a bit too much, but very manageable. Going down is pretty mental. It's all kind of like gravel, because it's an old volcano. So you are essentially just sliding down for like 2 hours. And yeah, I had some close calls to a twisted ankle there. But I would recommend climbing Mount Fuji for sure. And Tokyo, well, Tokyo is very intense. Too intense for me, to be honest, but because it was a holiday, a short trip, I could just embrace it, knowing that it wasn't forever. There's so much noise. Obviously I live in a city, so right now I'm hearing the traffic, and if I was out in the street, I'd be hearing lots of people. Tokyo's got all of that going on, but also just every single shop is just blasting random music. There's so much noise. All of the signs are so bright. Yeah. I don't talk about sensory overload a lot because I don't feel it applies to me. But in Tokyo, it's like, yeah, it applies to me, but that's because it applies to literally everyone. It was crazy how busy it was, but the people were wonderful. I got lost like so many times, and so many times people helped me. No stress there. They were just very, very happy to, and I was pleasantly surprised that they were happy to. And the food is very cheap, and my accommodation is very cheap. So I really can't complain. I had a wonderful trip. Hello, Kate. Love your videos. Thank you, Luna. Cool name. Luna's one of my favourite names. They make me feel so much less lonely and depressed when I feel low and hopeless. Oh, Luna, that's very kind. Do you know what, Luna? That's precisely why I make them. My audience is not the audience I planned. So when you look at like the analytics of my audience, 80% are men, and it's like 70% are people older than me. And I always thought that who I'd be talking to would be like a female a bit younger than me. That's kind of what would make sense in my mind as someone kind of making these videos to connect with individuals as I struggle through life and hopefully try and get better at it. But it seems that I've resonated with quite a different audience to what I've expected, and obviously I'm very happy with my audience, but it is nice to hear from you, Luna, a female, that you connect with them, because it's almost all men, interestingly. Surprisingly. Thanks, Luna. That means a lot. Seriously, dude. Grant Andrew. Hi, EduKate. I'm a fellow Scotsman. Hi. Living in Hong Kong. I'm from Glasgow. My rent is 8,000 Hong Kong dollars. May I ask, Grant, what do you get for that? Is that for a room, or is that for your own place? And if so, I'm assuming it says somewhere rural. Yeah, I pay 650, but it's a single bedroom in a shared flat, so. But it isn't an amazing location, I have to say. I can't knock the location at all. Oh, no problem, Tom. I'm glad it helped. Any questions? I'm here for another 15-20 minutes. Luna, my niece and nephew are 2 and 6, and definitely respond better to being treated without kid gloves. Yeah, they really rise to the challenge, don't they? They are little children, but are still questioning individuals and really love joking around. Yeah, I feel the exact same with kids. You see a joy in their face when you treat them like little adults. They love that. No iron brew, so look what I've been forced to drink. Flex away. Thanks, Paul. Hey, Mohammed. Was typical harder? Significantly harder. So, as I said, in Mount Fuji, I got like the ideal weather. When it's sunny, but there's a breeze, so you're never overheating, but you're also never worrying about getting cold or rain, having to put on extra layers. Mount Typical was the exact opposite. I applied for a summer walk. I didn't apply, I did it. But we did it in what was meant to be their summer. Well, it was their summer, but summer weather. Was it fuck? Snowing, sleet pelting your face, so stressful from a weather perspective, and obviously it does compromise the views, but also it's just a much more technically difficult climb. Mount Typical, we were clambering over boulders and helping each other one at a time. This is only at the very top. The first day wasn't like that, it was the second day. but Mount Typical was a lot harder. But to balance it, I would say I actually really felt a significant sense of achievement at the top of Mount Typical, whereas with Mount Fuji it was like, fair play. Like I've seen some cute views. I've done something I've always wanted on the bucket list. But like with Mount Typical, it's like I have achieved something because my God, it was so difficult that last hour, but we did it. And also, Mount Typical has a more diverse climb from the perspective that, you know, we were walking past mountain goats and walking with mules. You know, you were seeing like far more of Moroccan culture. You were walking through different landscapes. Mount Fuji was a little samey. Yeah, I would recommend Typical if you are a Brit who doesn't have much money but really is itching for an adventure. You can fly return from Britain to Marrakesh for like £100 or less if you live in London, and then you can do a Mount Typical tour for like £200. So if you have that plus £200 spending money, so you can have a few days in Marrakesh, you'll have the most insane adventure. You'll get to climb the highest mountain in Northern Africa, and you'll get to experience one of the craziest cities ever, and also amazing cities, which is Marrakesh. And then you'll return to the UK, and you won't believe that you had that adventure for so cheap. Kaon, hi Kate, 10 years Hong Kong veteran from Wales. Hi Wales. You're the part of the UK that always gets forgotten about. I'm so sorry. Hope you're enjoying your time so far. I am. It took a little while. The first few months of Hong Kong, when I say I felt quite lonely, it's not that I now have friends, actually, but I'm just so much more comfortable with how to be independent in Hong Kong than I was initially. Also, Kayon, this won't mean much to most, but it will mean something to you. When I first moved here, I lived in North Point, and I just think North Point is so uninspiring. Whereas now I live in Wan Chai, and Kayon, as you'll know, Wan Chai is probably a bit too much. A lot of naughty things happen here. It's a bit too much of a party scene for someone who's sober. But my God, is it stimulating? And my God, do you really feel that you're in a place that's alive and that there's a lot to do and that you're learning a lot by being there? So I think the move was really good for me, because what's the point in moving halfway across the world if you're then going to live in the very particular place I was living, North Point, where nothing's going on, and you just go home and you're on YouTube for hours. It took me a little while to actually understand, Kate, if you're going to live abroad, you have to experience abroad. It's not just where you sleep at night. It's got to be how you experience it in your free time. Grant, it's good to see another Scottish person here. I can relate with cost of living in the... Oh, I do apologise, Grant. It's good to see another Scot person here. I can relate with the cost of living in the UK, and it's cool to watch your videos and recognise where you are in Hong Kong. Yeah, I'm glad you like that. That's kind of why I make them. For me, I'm doing all of this alone, and I do understand that people do this and far more alone. Millions and millions of people are doing it all over the world, but for someone with an anxious disposition, this is a big deal for me. So a way I combat the disappointment of doing it alone, because as you know, I was meant to be doing it with my ex-boyfriend. I do like that I'm a micro content creator, because it means I'm not doing it alone. I'm doing it with, you know, I know you're not my friends, but you're my allies, right? And we're kind of mutually invested in each other's happiness. And so when I document the experience and you guys get to see that with me, and I'm talking to you as I'm doing it, that's really good for me. So that's the first reason I do it, and I'm glad you enjoy it, Grant. But the second reason is, I really know that when I'm older and my life I'm doing something completely different, you know, I'm gonna every now and then have little moments when I look back to my little EduKate account and I just look at my videos and I go, oh God, well, clearly they're far from perfect, but hey, look at that cool thing I did. It's nice to, because I've had adventures, really big adventures in my life prior to this that I now barely remember, because, you know, I didn't do them with anyone, so I've no one to bounce off on in that regard, you know, discussing it. I didn't document it through videos or barely any pictures. So like the day-to-day mundaneness, all of that's left my mind, and I wish it hadn't, because that was all part of the experience. Whereas with Hong Kong, documenting the normalness is actually really fun for me, because I'm going to look back on the normalness so fondly in 10 years, and I do like it a lot. It's a shoebox. I don't need to share it. Yeah, but I don't need to share it. Yeah, I think I would have preferred that, to be honest, Grant. If I was staying in Hong Kong longer, I would move out, pay a little bit extra for my own place. I think after a certain age, it's no reflection on the flatmates at all, but I think after a certain age, your own space is important, and it's maybe just in terms of how you feel about your own progression in life. You don't want to feel that you're living with strangers. You want to feel like you're making efforts to be independent and build your own life, etc. But whatever, I'm just here for a year. Of course I should just live with flatmates in accommodation that's provided. That makes perfect sense for my situation. Barbecues are happening in the mighty Scotland. I've heard about the heat wave. Thankfully no one in the UK is making any kind of fuss about it. Thankfully everyone in the UK is being very level-headed about it. I mean, who am I to complain? All I do is complain about the heat here. Thanks, Johnny. Much love to you too. Gafferman, really love your recent travel vlogs. You have a great on-camera presence, and it's understated how funny you are. I try. No one picks up on my jokes. Thanks, Gafferman. You truly haven't had Japanese cuisine until you've had wraps at IKEA. Yeah. Thanks, dude. Yeah, no one cares about my jokes. My humour is very dry, so I think a lot of people just think I'm an idiot. I really like making the travel vlogs as well. It's a craft, and I have not mastered that craft in any way. I'm still at the stage where I'm just pointing a camera at things and then just cutting it sloppily and putting it together. But I was happy to do that because I just wanted to get started. But I want it to become a craft where I actually get good at it. So thanks, Gafferman. Do you know what? The views haven't been amazing, but actually, I quite like that some people have been watching it and they've gone down pretty well. So yeah, thanks, Gafferman. It means a lot. There'll be more. Oh, I just bought a new camera. So this is on my shitey phone that I'm doing this. But my next vlog that comes out, whenever it comes out, hopefully you'll notice a difference in quality because it's from an actual camera. I'm Scottish and live in England. Boo. And often find other Scottish people to be kind of annoying. Oh, okay. I love Scotland and being Scottish, but I prefer not to live amongst my fellow Scots. That's I do have to disagree with you, RT. I think Scottish people are genuinely class. Like, I love the Scottish sense of humour, and I think Scottish people genuinely do care for each other. I do think we have a good community, so I like being Scottish. I miss being around Scottish people. The two things I dislike about Scottish people is the obsession that Glasgow's like the best place in the world. I just think that's a serious cope. It's not that Glasgow's bad, it's just so average, and Scots go on and on and on and on and on about how they love Glasgow. It's wound me up for ages. And the second thing I don't really like about Scottish people is that all we do is talk about independence. Not that I'm against independence. I just feel like, guys, we just need to make our mind up one way or the other. You know what I mean? Countries become independent all the time. Also, other countries consider independence and then let that idea go. Like, why is this our main thing for decades and decades and decades? You know, there needs to be... I just find it a bit tedious. Okay. Also, Mount Toubkal is the highest mountain in all of Arab regions, plus Northern Africa. I did it, and I'll do El Brusu. Oh, wow, good for you, dude. Yeah, Mount Toubkal. Everyone should do it. No, not everyone. It would be a bit much for everyone, but anyone who's a young Brit watching this now who wants an adventure should definitely do it. It will challenge you, it will seriously reward you, and you can do it pretty cheaply. United till I die. Hi, Kate. United as in Dundee United? My dad's a Dundee United supporter. Bravo, braver than me living in Wan Chai. I've lived many places in Hong Kong, but never on that part of the island. Yeah. If I was living here long term, I wouldn't live in Wan Chai. So basically, guys, to everyone watching who's not familiar with Hong Kong, Wan Chai is where you go. Like I'm all seeing sex workers, people stumbling out of clubs and pubs at 5 in the morning. A lot of shady activity. A bit of a seedy side of life here. Also, my flatmate who goes out drinking a lot. The other week, he got charged. This is not a joke. £280 for gin and tonic. So obviously he did not think he was paying that, but he pressed his card on the machine and they took that money off him. There's crooks here in Wan Chai, for sure. It's a shady area. And then obviously once he paid, he realised, because he got a notification on his phone, like 280 quid has come out of your account, and obviously he was raging, and because he was drunk he wasn't scared to say it. But then the bartender's behind him like, oh, didn't you know that was the cost? Like, fuck off. Obviously I didn't know that was the cost. And you have a responsibility to tell me if that's the cost, but that was the way that's how they make money. Yeah. Hello Kate, how's your trip in Japan? I'm expecting you to enjoy a great deal of it. I did enjoy it, yeah. I'm back in Hong Kong now. Yeah, I was only there for 5 days and 2 of those days was climbing Fuji. But yeah, it was really good. I'd recommend Japan to basically anyone. I mean, it's a long way to go obviously if you're in Britain, but it's got something for everyone because it's got the insane nightlife if that's what you're into. It's got insane food, beautiful countryside that I barely got to explore. Lovely people, so much history. I mean, there really is something for everyone in Japan. I never climbed any mountains, but when I went to Russia, I climbed. So you started with Mount Elbrus, Indian. You never climbed a mountain, and then you climbed Mount Elbrus. Fair play. Fair play, but you did it sounds like. Yeah, sick of snow now, never again. No, that sounds like a once in a lifetime experience anyway, so fair enough. But yeah, you started too strong, dude. Have you been to Macau? No, but I'm going to go in August. No money left this month because I bought a new camera and I've just come back from holiday, but in August I will, and I'm very excited. Thanks for sharing good content, love them. Thank you. Hong Kong, Kate is live. It doesn't get much better than that. Thank you, Tony. What a lovely man. You are my queen. Thank you, Luigi. You are a childhood memory for me. Hi, good morning, Kate. Well, I don't know where you are, but it's nearly 11 here. How long do you plan on streaming this morning? Until I get to the end of the comments. So I'm guessing that will be another 10 minutes. Have you seen Rob Roy? That's the comedian? The British comedian? Is he the guy with the big teeth? I've seen him a bit, if that's who you're talking about. I'm Irish, lived in Glasgow for a year. Yeah, it's very, very, very uncommon for someone from Ireland to live in Glasgow, so you must have felt a bit left out, Ben. Got to say, the Scottish people were much kinder than the English. I think Scottish people do kind of are a bit smug about how we're kinder than the English. I think it's a little overhyped. As someone who's lived in London, and that's like famous for being super unfriendly, even in London, for the most part, it's like people get on with each other. And then I lived in the Lake District, and obviously that's Cumbria, it's practically touching Scotland, and it's a rural area. So they should be friendly, and they were, you know. But yeah, Scottish people are particularly friendly, aren't we? And I'm so proud of that. How cool is that? Although I do have to say, Scottish people have a strange, don't we have a strange reputation? Because we're simultaneously known as so friendly, right? But then also, we're known as very aggressive. Like, that's a stereotype when you think of, you know, like Shrek and Train Spotting and who's the janitor from The Simpsons and stuff. You know, stereotypes of Scottish people is that we're quite rough and threatening, but simultaneously to that, incredibly friendly. So don't know how those two work together, but they seem to. I like Scots, at least they can have a laugh. Unlike the English, oh come on, some of the best comedians in the world come from England. I think English humour is great. I think British humour is very good. I think I've got a very British sense of humour. But Scots in particular, like, we take it an extra level, laughing at ourselves and taking the piss out of our mates, and I really like that. Your explanation of why you enjoy making YouTube videos resonates with me. I sometimes wonder why I make them. So thanks for inspiring me to continue. My Devon Diaries. I've never seen your content, but I can guess what it's about, and I'm really glad you feel that way, yeah. Dude, do you know what I've decided? So I'm on YouTube as someone with 19 subscribers, and I'm on Instagram as someone with 10,000 followers. So I exist in a space where I've the minimum amount of relevance possible, whilst it's still counting for something. And it's a very insecure place to be if you wish it to be, because you're aware that basically everyone's above you. You know, you're not making money, but all of these people are. Like, some of them are making millions and millions. You're barely being noticed. Some people get millions and millions of views per post, blah, 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 blah. For a long time, it was like, okay, but here I am now, but I could be then here, and then here, and then here, and then here. And it was all a plan for a financial future, and for this is one step of a bigger dream, etc. I've let all of that go. If that happens, that's cool, but it almost definitely won't. And why should it? Why can't I enjoy this space where I get to make content and a few people really like it? Isn't that a blessing? Why does it need to be more than that? If you're doing something you enjoy, and you're doing something that you feel a few other people around you are enjoying, you're doing a beautiful thing, dude. Yeah, it's an insecure game for sure. I've had to let it go. I've had to let that go because it was not good for you. And who needs that in life? Why can't we just enjoy the little wins our way, instead of it always being, okay, but where will this then take me, and then this take me, and then this take me? Can't hear Scottish independence without visualising Mel Gibson as William. Yeah, my God. Yeah, it's all you hear in Scotland. We hear it like 10 times a day. Kate, how about spending some time working and exploring Thailand? We are here right now, or are you ready to go back to Europe? I would love to do Thailand. I've always been drawn more to Vietnam. There's some places in your mind you've never been to. You just have a feeling that place would really suit me. And for me, it's always been Vietnam. So I would, of course, love to explore Thailand, but Vietnam would be higher on the list. Yeah, I can see that happening in 4 months, that I move to Vietnam for another 6 months. Guys, my life's very up in the air. I just need to keep hustling, keep having like 10 different ideas going so that one of them actually happens. And whatever happens, I'm sure it will be great. But yeah, I'm definitely not against the idea of exploring Thailand. How cool would that be? I wanted to go for a trip towards Inverness. Do it in summer. The Scottish Highlands are far too much for me in winter. You have to be a very specific person to enjoy it in winter. I mean, I'm sure it's beautiful if you're inside a car, etc., or if you're properly layered up and you're a certain type of individual. But for me, in summer, nothing compares to the Scottish Highlands. The only thing you're competing with there is that there'll be a lot of people, but it is so beautiful, my friend. Don't think about it. Just do it. Just do it. You can camp. In summer you can camp. It'll at least be expensive. Are you travelling to mainland? Well, yes. I was very on the fence for a long time because it would just be a big step, right? They only accept Alipay. They don't do cash. No one speaks English. As soon as I go there, Google doesn't work because certain restrictions, so I would just be wandering around without a map, etc. For a long time I was a bit stressed about it. Now I just feel like, Kate, just do it. If you hate it, just go for the day. For the first day, just go for the day. So, like I say, I have no money now. But in August, with my next paycheck, I'm going to do a day trip to Shenzhen. I'll start, just dip my toe in. Yeah, no pressure. And I probably won't even film it my first time. It will probably just be for me. Um, and then I would like to do China properly, go away for the weekend somewhere. Yeah. But I also want to go to Macau. I really want to go to Macau. And I will do that in August. Yeah. I've not seen the, well, I wouldn't necessarily know who is a lady boy. Um, I wouldn't necessarily recognise those signs. But yeah, they're not giving me any attention for what I hope is obvious reasons. Yeah, it makes total sense that they charge you extra. And when they charge you extra, something you should know is that Hong Kong food is crazy cheap. You can buy a meal, and usually, well, not usually, but about half the times a meal would include a drink, so it would come with a tea, coffee, or a can of Coke. You can buy a meal that's delicious and will fill you up for a $5. But if you order a beer in Hong Kong, that's going to be like 7-8 quid. And then obviously if you go to like these wanky, I mean they're beautiful, but like, you know, high-rise bars, then it's like 18 quid, 20 quid easy. So when people say that you're overcharged as a Westerner, you have to understand that you were already being overcharged for alcohol. Yeah, I'm so glad I don't drink in Hong Kong. Your salary would be drained immediately. Have you ever been to the States? When I was 19, I lived in Indianapolis for a summer, and I also went to New York City for 4 days when I was like, it was just before COVID, like as in just before COVID in January 2020. And then when I was there, I also did like a day trip on a Greyhound to Washington, DC, and then back again on the same day. Indianapolis was very uninspiring. I went when I was a teenager, so I actually went, I don't think it's, I went before you can experience a lot of America, because I went so young. So, but I also went to quite a strange place as my very first experience for America. And then New York. New York's everything that people expect it to be. It's pretty incredible to be in a place that you've seen on TV so often. I really, really love the theatre, so I really liked that when I lived in London. And so getting to go to Broadway was a major lifetime bucket list for me. But yeah, I would like to experience more of the States countryside. It's so diverse, and I'm very interested in like Arizona and New Mexico, that sort of area. Yeah. Do you think you'll end up saving more money in Vietnam? Um, I no. Do you mean so? Right now, I could be saving 400 quid. Is what I predict is how much you could save pretty comfortably in Hong Kong. I think in Vietnam you could save 400 quid a month as a teacher. But you're not paid a crazy amount, so you wouldn't be able to save a crazy amount. You're very inspiring, Kate. In the next couple of years, I want to move to Japan and start a YouTube channel as well. We'll see. Ben, it's not that hard, and I believe that if that's your dream, it's super achievable. Japan is always looking for English teachers. They don't pay that well, but I mean, they pay enough for you to live on the salary. It won't make you rich, but Japan, I'm sure you watch Chris Abroad. He can give you far more information than I can, but they're always looking for English teachers, especially in rural areas, if that's something you're interested in. And they've got quite a similar work culture to Hong Kong. You are worked hard, but you're not worked exhaustively. Where I'm told to just never work as an English teacher is South Korea. You're worked to the bone, and the kids aren't raised to be very nice to you. Yeah, and then start a YouTube channel. Dude, don't wait. You could do it now. You could do it now. And okay, you'll probably get no views because most channels don't, but it would build a habit in you, and it would build some skills in you, so that by the time you get to Japan, you'll probably be really good at it, and you'll feel confident when you're doing those vlogs and stuff. Ben, I believe in you, my friend. I hope you believe in yourself. Connor, £10 a day for my nice accommodation in Vietnam. Yeah, easy. Oh, Connor, can I come visit you? I'm very tempted to move to Vietnam in November. Hi from Las Vegas. Oh, that's where you live, TC. No way, dude. I'd love to go to Vegas. I'm sober now, so it would be a very different experience than it would be if I'd done it a year ago. But I think Vegas is far more than just gambling. There's so much I'd like to see. Kate, you're awesome. Thank you. That's very kind. But honestly, you don't know me. Very flawed individual, I have to say. I try, and I'm becoming better. I'm aging well, but still a mess. Thank you for your lovely encouraging response to my comment about having a small YouTube channel. Very helpful. No stress, Chris. Yeah. Yeah. I feel your position because I'm in it, right? Obviously, I don't know your precise details, but I'm assuming you document living in Devon. And I think that's really nice because Devon's a nice area, and a pace of life there is quite slow, I imagine, in a nice way. So you would be documenting like quite a slow pace of life, but a beautiful one. And so that's not going to have like mass appeal immediately, is it? Because, you know, there's going to be a certain patience required to watch a video like that. But what you're showcasing is a wonderful way to live. And I hope you get the audience you deserve from it, my friend. Hi, Robert. I love your content, Kate, and hope you're having a great Saturday. I'm having a really good Saturday. Thank you, my friend. Lovely. And same to you. Yeah, they were so disgraceful. So this Casey is talking to me about how I got scammed. I know, it was disgraceful. Actually, what shocked me, it would not have been shocked at all if it was off camera, but I was very surprised that they did it whilst they knew I was vlogging. But maybe that doesn't mean anything anymore, because if everyone's a vlogger, you know, like, okay, so she's like live streaming, but maybe it's to 2 people, like, why would they care? And maybe even if they knew I had a small audience, they wouldn't care, because, I mean, it's still a small audience, and almost none of you live in Hong Kong, so... But yeah, I was very surprised at how blatant they were on camera. Just want to suggest someone for a potential future interview. A Canadian who's spoken about the same issues. Okay, cool. So I was hoping to very briefly mention my interviews. As you might have noticed if you really do follow my content, I don't know why, but thank you. I haven't been able to do interviews for almost 2 months now. That's because my laptop broke. As you might know, it's just broke. It just doesn't turn on. And I've had a holiday this month, and I had to buy a new camera, so I've just let it go. I've just accepted that. You know, it's not nice being without a laptop in this day and age. It doesn't make you feel good. You know, everything's such a hassle without a laptop. And then obviously there's the content creation aspect where it's like I kind of need this for my goals. But anyway, I will be buying a new laptop in August. I've learnt my lesson. I'm not going to be drawn in by the, oh my goodness, Hong Kong, they sell so many cheap second-hand electrics. That's not worked for me, so I'm just going to buy a new laptop in August. And so in August, I can resume interviewing people, because I've just not been in a position where I can. And I'm going to tell you an exclusive right now. I had to message 3 really cool people to say, I'm really sorry, I can't interview you. So I'm going to tell you who they are. Jimmy the Giant. I'd secured an interview with him, and then I had to email him back and say, I'm really sorry, my fucking laptop doesn't work. And that would have been so cool. I like his content. I've disproportionately been interviewing people of a right-wing persuasion. And that's not by design, it's just because those are the people that got back to me. Jimmy would have balanced that out really well. He would have been a great interview guest. So fuck's sake, I'm sure it will happen eventually, but so annoying. A guy called Tom the taxi driver, who, his name is Tom and he's a taxi driver in London. He's got quite a big following, but he's so interesting. He knows London obviously super well because of his job. And so that would have been a really, really interesting chat about how London's evolving, about the trade of, the trade he's in, about content creation, etc. Another one was a guy called Francis Foster, who's the other guy in trigonometry. And he used to be a teacher before he worked at trigonometry. So I had really cool interviews coming up, and I hope they still happen, and obviously I hope so many others still happen. But I just have to accept the fact that it will be a little bit. Currently based in Japan, I believe, so a bit of missed opportunity, yeah, whatever, yeah. As you say, Kate, just do it. It is inspiring as ever. Aging well here too, but still a mess. 23, Ryan, please. I wasn't even a person until I was 25. I'm serious. I was so anxious, so angry at the world without being able to understand why. So in a state of drunkenness all the time. Not a nice person most of the time. You're doing very well, my friend, to be 23 and to be aging pretty well. Because honestly, until I was 25, I was a complete write-off. And it's only now as a 30-year-old that I actually feel that anything's really started for me. So good for you, my friend. I need to make a trip to London one day soon. My granddad is from there and survived World War II. You should. London is given a very, I hope you're talking from the UK, Ryan. I don't know. London is given a bad rep within the UK. I think most countries cheat on their capital a bit, but London is architecturally so wonderful. There were days when I lived in London, I had no money. I would just go on like a 4-hour walk. You'd walk through so many boroughs. The architecture is so diverse, and so I had no money in my pocket, but I was just in awe. I was in awe, and then I love the theatre. Obviously, West End can be very expensive, but the cheapest tickets when you're right at the back, they're only ever 20 quid. And if that's all you know, which is all I ever know, you're absolutely fine with it. You're still getting to see a wonderful show. Yeah, and if you like history, there's very few places in the world better than London. Think of the insane history that's happened in that concentrated space over the years. You can go on free walking tours with Sandemans. You just pay them a tip at the end. I mean, there's loads of companies, Ryan. You'll have a great time. Just stay in a hostel, because otherwise the accommodation's crazy. But if you stay in a hostel, you can do it pretty cheap, Ryan. Have you think about to teach in local schools or international schools? I don't teach in a school, I teach at a learning centre, which basically means they accept anyone. I just needed a TEFL certificate and I got that on Groupon. The reason I'm a good teacher is because I trained on the job and because I put in the effort, not because you need to be a good teacher necessarily to get hired. If I was staying here long term, international schools in Hong Kong pay obscene. They've got loads of British international schools here, like Harrow, etc. Like a Harrow branch, you can make crazy money. So if life had gone another way, maybe met the man of my dreams here, or just fell in love beyond my wildest dreams with Hong Kong and knew it's where I was wanting to settle, I would be making an action plan in my mind. International school is the way to go. But I'm sure there's nothing wrong with a local school, but I don't really know how you get a job in that, because the expat community tends to gravitate towards the international schools. I researched our ancestors' history too, and the Great British Empire. We did many, many things, and the Commonwealth still stands even here today in Canada. Cool, dude. Yeah. Oh, I've reached the end of my comments. Nice. Oh, so sorry, Ryan. You're from Canada. I understand. Never been to Canada. The highest I've been is New York City. But I'd love to go to Nova Scotia. Would love to travel to pre-UK Scotland. Hello from Scotland. Oh, North Sea. Yeah, never would have guessed you're from Scotland, pal. Nice to see you, North Sea. My mum's from Peterhead. That's why I turned out the way I did. Hong Kong is all about crazy money. Yeah, for some, be water. Not for me, I wish. But yeah, I see it. As someone who's worked in a Michelin-star restaurant, how is your cooking? Yeah, I can do pesto pasta pretty well. My cooking's disappointing. Because I live in a shared flat, I don't really feel comfortable taking over the space that much. But I'm so excited to be a little bit older and live on my own with a kitchen, because I love food so much that I want to get better at really being able to cook it. Any long walks planned? Well, thank you for asking, Wally. I'm sorry this is going on a bit. I'm on an hour 5. I will cut it short soon. I do. So, as you know, or as you might know if you've watched me on here a lot, I really want to walk from Mumbai back to my home in Dumfries and Galloway. Something I get to say with a lot of pride is that I've worked so hard to make it happen. Not on screen, but behind the scenes. I really have talked to hundreds of people via email. I've looked up so many ways to make it happen. Probably spent about 10 hours a week, in addition to all the other things I'm doing in my life, on this for the past couple of months. Yeah, so basically nothing's happened of it. So in 4 months, it either happens because something major has changed, or it doesn't happen. And I was verging on a bit of a crisis, actually, because when you're so focused towards a dream and you really believe, even though you've been rejected like 150 times in emails, yes, but keep going because this is a dream that's meant to happen. The realization that actually it won't, and you didn't have a plan B, is quite scary. And something I would say to you, my friends, or at least if you're as neurotic as I am, is that we are taught so aggressively in this modern day that, you know, what's your dream? Aim towards this dream. Never take no for an answer. Fall down 30 times. Stand up 31 times. Like, you know, if you try, you will succeed. Like, and you take in that, and it becomes very personal. And then you try and you try and you try and you try, and I'm still in a position where nothing's happened, so I'll continue to try, but I'm approaching it more stoically now. It's like, well, maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. So my plan B, and I understand this is a major downgrade, but it is a very realistic one, and I think I need a realistic plan B, is that I'm going to walk home from Munich to Moffat, which is the park Dumfries and Galloway I live in, because then I wouldn't need to rely on anyone. Munich to Moffat, and this is me taking my time, just enjoying the journey. To walk would take 3 months. So it would take 10 weeks, but let's say it takes 3 months because of breaks you take, etc. And it would cost me £2,000 per month. Okay, so I can figure that out myself. I don't need to get a company to sponsor me. I don't need to become a successful content creator and get ad revenue. £6,000 I can save myself, because I wouldn't want to walk Munich to Moffat in November, because the weather, the whole experience, I'd be walking in the cold and rain. Why would you do that to yourself? It's a once in a lifetime experience. I want to do it when the weather's nice. So I would be doing it in like May. So if plan A doesn't happen by November, no stress, Kate. You've now got a wonderful plan B. And that is that you're going to walk from Munich home to Scotland in May. And so then I have 6 months where I'm working somewhere new, maybe Vietnam, maybe mainland China. And then it's like, okay, save £1,000 a month. I'm not saying it'll be super easy. There'll be sacrifices I have to make, or an extra job I have to take on. But then it's like, okay, dude, the content creation dream's not happening. No stress. The getting a really cool company to sponsor you, that's not happening. No stress. You know, there's loads of ways you can make it. You can make a version of what you want to happen in life happen. But going so solely towards that big dream I had, so far it's got me nowhere. And you know what? It might get me somewhere. I still might do it. I'm still working towards it. But I've let go of the idea that it makes me a failure, that I said on the internet I would do it and it's not happening. It's not like I didn't fucking try, and it's not like I'm still not trying. I know an international school teacher who came back to the UK, couldn't deal with it. In Hong Kong? He probably had a bad experience with that particular school, to be fair. Most people really enjoy it. Can your mum speak Doric? Yeah. Yeah. As soon as she's on the phone to her sister, fits up McQueen. Also North Sea, I don't know if this means anything to you, but every summer, or whenever it was, for the whole of my childhood, we would go up to the Buchan Heritage Festival, and I'd be forced to perform Doric poetry. Did you go to the Peak to see Hong Kong? Yeah, it's wonderful, isn't it? Some tourist attractions in Hong Kong are overrated. The Peak is not one of them. The Peak is spectacular. I am from India. Cool. ASMR cutting. Hair at night. Okay, cool, dude. Thanks for commenting. How's the Cantonese coming along? Nope, I will not be throwing you any phases. I don't speak Cantonese. I'm afraid to say I am one of those whiteys that come here and just speak English. Hong Kong is such an the expat community. I almost exclusively belong to it because I work exclusively with expats. My job is at an English immersion school, so the kids are not allowed to speak Cantonese or any other language if they're not from Hong Kong. So you never interact with kids in anything other than English. And I live with South Africans. That's my whole existence, and I think it's a lot of Westerners' existence in Hong Kong, to be honest. Limitations often breeds creativity. I think your plan B from walking home sounds much safer. Yeah, and it's undisputably much safer. Let's be real, significantly more safer. And I think that probably would affect how much I enjoy the trip, in that I'd be more relaxed. I mean, it's good to take on a challenge, obviously, but I probably would find myself in situations where I would be a bit overwhelmed, in parts of India and Pakistan. Not Afghanistan, because I would be doing that with a private guide, but I think the first 2 months would be a bit intense. So yeah, always significantly safer, and still an excellent trip. For sure. I think for me the main thing that's the appeal of plan B is that it wouldn't worry my parents. My parents would be very excited for me for doing that, whereas plan A, my parents would kind of be like, oh wow, what a ballsy kid we've got, that's cool, but they would also just lose sleep for a few months. And I mean, it's stressful to put other people in that position for the sake of your own dream. Motherwell T. Moffat. Yeah, maybe I should start with that. I'm also Irish, been to Dublin. Oh my god, all people from Northern Africa. Not Northern Africa. All Northern Americans think they're Irish, don't they? I had to read Doric poems in school too. Hey, no stress, Ryan. Sorry. Can I show you guys my flatmate? Oh, okay, this is Ryan, and look at the whitey with his Filipino girlfriend. Yeah, unheard of, right, guys? Yeah. Ryan's from South Africa, he's an Afrikaans. There's a lot of Afrikaans in Hong Kong, as I'm sure you can guess why. And this is Jenny! Hi!
She's my darling, so of course she's my number one, so of course. Whatever you guys we do apologize for our terrible behavior.
Shout out in the Philippines.
I do have to say I'm having quite a wholesome chat with my friends, so please don't be too silly. No, you don't have to be silent. I'm just please don't be too naughty, Ryan. Okay, Munich is much more realistic. Thanks, Wally. Okay, sorry. Hi, Jenny. Munich's much more realistic. Come to the US. I would love to come to the US, my friend. It's just an expensive place to travel, but for sure it's on the list. The US is incredible. I'm worried to go to Hong Kong because an ex in Canada has family there. It's a big place. Although I have to say I'm surprised at how often I see my students on the MTR. So it's a big place, but it's also a small place. You probably would bump into someone, Ryan. Hi Kate, I live in Fort Dallas, Texas, and we're having a major thunderstorm right now. Lots of fun. Oh God. Yeah, I'm sorry Nick, what a nightmare that must be. It sucks, right? Because we had a Jack Russell. He died when about a year ago. But he was old. He was 17. Obviously, whenever there was a thunderstorm, he became insufferable because he was barking so much. But you did feel sorry for him as well because they don't understand what's going on. They're genuinely terrified. But yeah, dude, I don't know what to say. I feel your pain, my friend. I'm Manx, Welsh, Scottish, Irish, English, ancient Germanic, okay, cool, Scandinavian, Norwegian, and a sprinkle of Dutch. I've never been across the pond, so I'm guessing you're American, right? Dude, you'll love Europe. You'll love it. Europe's wonderful. Come to Europe. I could go to mainland, yeah. Go to mainland, Ryan, start there. Start easy. I worked in the local school, so the kids spoke a lot more Canto. English definitely takes a back seat. In my last few schools, I was the only white person there. Yeah, Grant, so you're having a much more authentic experience than I am. And it's probably it's the route I should have gone down, probably, if I wanted to fully immerse myself here. Yeah, I'm just being transparent with you guys. I'm a proper expat. But fair play to you, Grant. You've got a skill set I don't. Northern Africa, yeah. I had my DNA tested too. That's crazy, dude. What a beautiful couple. Yep, they are a beautiful couple. Isle of Skye is wonderful, Kent. It's outside of Edinburgh, it's probably the most touristy part of Scotland. So it means that it's not as cheap as other parts of Scotland, and it also means that you're sharing that space with a lot of people. Which is a bit of a shame because obviously natural beauty, some of that comes from feeling alone, etc. You won't feel that in Skye, there's so many people, but it's beautiful. My God, Ryan. You just need to move to Europe, you're practically European, dude. I don't have thoughts on Northern Ireland versus the South. That's up to them to sort out. I'm a quarter Republican. My granny's from Roscommon in Ireland. But yeah, Irish politics bores me actually. It's kind of the same as Scottish independence. It's like, you guys, the same fight has been happening for so long. It gets boring. Yeah, sorry, Nick. I'm from Utah. My second great grandfather was a Mormon recruit from the Isle of Man. Directly to Utah to become a farmer. That's crazy. That's crazy. The reason I was watching a geography video on the Isle of Man yesterday. It's such an interesting island, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, I really have to visit when I go back. I farted really loud. Mr. Zumi, you're welcome here. Thank you for that insightful comment. Love my fan base. Where do I close? Where do I see myself in 10 years? In 10 years, I'll be 40. I would like to have a mortgage by then, and I would like to have a kid or 2 kids by then. I wouldn't want more kids plus the age of 40, but as in I would want to have had my kids by then is what I mean. I would like to live in rural central belt of Scotland, so somewhere that isn't Glasgow or Edinburgh, but it's maybe a 40-minute commute from one of the two. And I'd like to be a primary school teacher, and I would like to be able to say that I've had incredible adventures, which I could already say that. I just don't feel that chapter's quite closed. And I would like to have a Jack Russell. I miss my Jack Russell so much. And when I've got my own place, I will have my own Jack Russell again. When I'm 40, my parents will be obviously 10 years older than me now. I want to be in a position where I'm a good daughter to them as they're in the later stage of their life, and I want to be a good sister to my 2 sisters. Part of that is being present for them in Scotland. And I think that's the stuff that I'd be really disappointed about if I found out it's not going to happen. But everything on top of that's an extra. But those are the things I really want: to be a primary school teacher with my own place in Scotland, and to have kids, which would hopefully obviously mean that I have a partner. But I think even if the partner doesn't happen, I'd still opt for the kids, because I do really like kids. Living in Northern Ireland is rough this weekend. Yeah, I'm sure. I don't speak any Gaelic. Only 1% of Scots speak Gaelic. No one speaks Gaelic in Scotland. Let's just clear that up. About 4 people speak Gaelic. Yeah, as someone from Northern Ireland, Irish politics also bores me. Yeah, I feel you did. Oh my goodness, so many comments. We're nearly there, I promise. You're doing really well. I'm proud of you guys. Hello everyone. Hi Catty. Okay, sounds like a lovely idyllic. Hope for your future. Thank you, Gafferman. Do you know what? If I work hard, it will happen. It's not a silly dream, it's very realistic. Okay, Catty, I think we're now at the end. And I've now been streaming for 1 hour and 20 minutes, which is about 1 hour longer than I was expecting it to. My friends, thank you very much. It's very meaningful to me that anyone tunes in at all. I hope we've had a nice chat. I basically got through what I was going to talk about anyway, in a bit more of a rambly way than I expected, but it's been lovely to hang out with you, my friends. Let's say that in 1 week a new vlog will come out. I should make one in the next few days, and then I'll schedule it for a few days after that. I never like to post immediately, just because then I'm in a constant state of, okay, so now you've got to make the next one. You never have any sense of a break. And in August, when I buy my new laptop, interviews will resume in addition to vlogs, and I'm so excited about that, because as you know, that is my favourite content to make. Yeah, thank you, my friends. Lots of love to you. Good night.